Yo, good morning, Hustle Nation. Today, it's all about self-employed 401ks and retirement planning for small businesses and solopreneurs like myself. If you operate a home-based business, if you are an affiliate marketer, you're doing this online marketing thing, digital marketing, and you're making money and you need to know what to do with it right now and for your future. This is the show for you. Got a special guest, Mr. Bob Crane, certified financial planner, enrolled agent, and CPA in the building. We also, of course, got our question of the day. We got our quote of the day. And then y'all know we're going to rock out with our 1 minute motivation. So let's go ahead and get this show started. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the show for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. I am your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, coming to you live and direct from the Digital Empire System Studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been trying to figure out how to get your brand online, then you need a digital marketing platform, and that's what the Digital Empire System is all about. It's the platform that I use for all of my websites, my sales funnels, my blog, my all of the tools that I need and use to grow and scale my brand on digitalempiresystem.com. And if you want to take a $1 30-day trial, all you have to do is comment one book, and I'll share with you the link on where you can go to test drive the full system for just $1. Man, we've got an interesting show for you today. If you are a solopreneur like myself, if you run a small business, if you are a barber, beautician, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a life insurance agent, and you're making money passively, residually, actively, and you're trying to figure out how to not give so much to Uncle Sam while at the same time prepare for your retirement, then this is the show for you. So make sure you comment in the chat the name of your business and or your brand. Just don't post any links, but definitely let us know what it is that you got going on. A couple quick announcements. If you know of any single moms that want to add another stream of income to their household, then you want to put them in touch with me and the show. I have a system that is perfect for single moms. It will allow them to increase their cash flow with the money that they're currently making, but then they will also be able to add a stream of income by sharing what we do with others. So have your single moms text keyword single mom and their name to 314-874-6887. Again, if you text keyword single mom and your name to 314-874-6887, I love to share with you this wonderful platform that increases cash flow and at the same time puts more money in your pocket. Question of the day. Question of the day is, do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Do you believe that everything happens for a reason? We got to give a huge shout out to my girl Cheryl Shiro Rogers for winning our question of the day free vacation. So if you want to be entered into a drawing to win a free vacation, then you answer the question of the day. You have to put QOTD and then give your answer. So question of the day for today, again, is do you believe that everything happens for a reason? And I'll share my answer towards the end of the show. So now, without further ado, it is time. So I want to introduce a guy that I've come to know and respect for the last, I guess we've been rocking together for about 5 years. He is a certified financial planner. He is a CPA. He is an enroll agent. He's got a gazillion other certifications. In fact, I call him the alphabet man. The man's got so many letters behind his name. But we're going to talk deeply about how you can move your money, right, in a way that is legal, ethical, and moral so that you give less to Uncle Sam, but at the same time, you start building and preparing for your retirement. Without further ado, let me introduce to some and present to others, Mr. Bob Crane. Top of the morning to you, sir. How are you?
Fantastic. Good day.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. Excited to have you here, brother. You know, I respect and admire your work and what you bring to the table in terms of your knowledge, your background, and what you stand for and represent, and trying to help solopreneurs and small business owners leverage the best that this free enterprise system has to offer. So first and foremost, tell everybody who Bob Crane is. And if you want to run down the list of all those certifications, you're welcome to do so, brother.
You know, I don't like to talk about myself, but yeah, a lot of my clients are attorneys and accountants I work with, and some organizations I'm in and helping build small business call me the alphabet man. But I'm a certified financial planner, CPA, enrolled agent with the IRS, chartered life underwriter, certified life underwriter, and a bunch of got master's degrees in finance and management and small business planning and things like that. So, but let's talk about money, investments, and if you're looking to get into a small business, what it can do for you and your family to reduce your tax burden. You know, with the change in administration now and everything, taxes are going to go up. A lot of things are changing in the way they're looking at penalize long-term capital gains as ordinary income. So a lot of people are looking, how can I save my hard-earned dollars from Uncle Sam?
Gotcha. All right. Well, we're going to get into all of that, Bob, but I like to kick the show off with what I call a segment I call the quote of the day. So think about it. If you got a favorite quote that you like to share, that you like to quote that has impacted your life, then feel free to share that. So right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, we do a segment called the quote of the day. And today's quote of the day, and you might just want to chime in on this one. This one's pretty dope. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of the government in the next. And that was Abraham Lincoln. Let me give it to you again. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of the government in the next. That's a quote by Abraham Lincoln. And what stuck out to me with that one is when we think about today, most kids aren't in the classroom anymore. They're at home doing this virtual learning. So we could also say the philosophy of the home now in this post-COVID era in one generation will be the philosophy of the government in the next. So what are we putting in our children today that's literally going to influence how the world is being run in the next generation. So that was from the great Abraham Lincoln. So if you want to chime in on that one, you're welcome. Or if you got one that you like to share yourself, Bob, let us know.
No, that's a good one. And in today's time, you see between the last two generations come out of school, it's also very scary.
Mm-hmm.
The core values that built this country were Christian conservative values, hard work, and you'll be rewarded. Now it's kind of like free stuff, and where's my participation trophy? Sorry. I'm sorry. When they get out in the real world, there is no participation trophy. You either face up, put up your big girl, big boy pants, go out there and go to work, or get left on the sidelines. And I think a lot of these kids come out of college where they were, coddled and everything else about their feelings. They're getting out there in the real world, and they're like, "Oh, this is so unfair." So now that's the real life. It's called private enterprise. And if you've got hard work, determination, you can make it happen. I did. I came from a very, very dirt poor family. I mean, I know what it's like to not have indoor plumbing. I mean, at my grandmother's house on the reservation. So I can tell you that with hard work, it can be done.
Absolutely. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. We try to keep our children from experiencing some of the things that we experienced when we were raised, but not realizing it was those things that made us, that built our character. So that was the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And of course, the quote of the day is brought to you by my good friend, Bob Crane. You will have the opportunity to get a free consultation with Bob if you are an entrepreneur, or you're trying to figure out how to become an entrepreneur, or you're a small business owner and you got good revenue coming in and you want to make sure that you're doing the right things with it, then you definitely want to connect with my man, Bob. So we talked a little bit about this free enterprise system. We talked a little bit about conservative, hardworking in this capitalistic democracy. Talk about why positioning yourself within this economy on the right side of capitalism just makes so much sense from a practical standpoint and then from a tax standpoint.
Absolutely. And one thing I say about on the academic side, not everyone, everyone says when you get out of high school, you got to go to an academic college. I'm sorry, but trade schools are a wonderful way. If you're not that good academic, but you're good with your hands, electricians, plumbers, trust me, I own a lot of rental property. I know what I pay these people.
Right.
Not funny, but I mean, master bricklayers, plumbers, electricians, X-ray techs, trade techs are making top dollar. And what you can put in, what you get out immediately, it's probably the best deal in town. So don't be disheartened if you don't get into the academic college. Check out that vocational technical school. Now let's talk about getting on the right side of capitalism. Our tax code, ladies and gentlemen, is really built to favor the entrepreneurship spirit in people to own a small business. We basically have literally two tax codes. You have, we're taught in school and college, I don't want to say brainwashed, but traditionally, go to college, you go to work for a company, you're going to work 40 years with that company, and you're going to retire basically in work 40 hours a week, 60 hours a week, and retire on 40% of your pay.
Right.
Now, if you're having trouble making it now, how in the heck are you going to live on 40%?
Right.
So starting now, looking at having your own businesses, and that's called being paid under W-2, where basically they're going to take your taxes out first, and then you get the rest to pay your bills and what you live on. Businesses, on the other hand, small businesses, home-based businesses, or whether you have a restaurant or accounting firm, whatever, or a design shop, a barber shop, you're paying yourself in what they call a 1099. And what that is that you make your money, and then you pay out all your expenses to operate your business, from everything from health insurance, lights, power, your leases, your mileage. I can go on and on. There's like 415 legitimate deductions. So you get paid, you pay all your business expenses first, then you pay your taxes. So if you're making as a W-2 wage earner $50,000 a year, after your standard deduction, you're going to pay your taxes. But if you're a small business owner, you're going to pay all your expenses up front. Then then that money's going to come over for your personal income tax, what they call K1, and then you're going to take your personal deduction. And if
Mhm.
you're married, you'll be married. And if you have kids, you have other deductions. Then you pay your taxes. And it can be anywhere from 15 to 20% less.
Yeah. And I don't think people really get when we say that. A lot of people don't understand how the tax deductions work. They think if I have $10,000 in tax deductions, that means I get a $10,000 tax refund. That's not how it works. Now, we wish that's how it works, but that's not how it works. Can you break down about what the dollar correlation is in tax savings when it relates to I got this many tax deductions, about how much of that is actual cash in hand? Because, when I talk to people about, becoming a home-based business owner, we have to educate them because they come out of the school system that says, hey, go to school so you can work for somebody, while at the same time, the school is saying entrepreneurship is risky. It's also teaching you how to ask an entrepreneur for a job, right? This is how you fill out an application. This is how you do a resume. This is how you conduct yourself on an interview. Well, guess what? Who are you interviewing with? An entrepreneur who created that job in the first place, right? But talk about if I got $10,000 in tax deductions, right? About what does that equate to in realized savings or income, and how does that whole dynamic work?
Well, first of all, if you're just working on W-2 for the man or the
Mhm.
woman, for that matter, and let's say you make 40,000. If
Mhm.
you're single, you're going to get a standard deduction of 12,400 off of that. Now, if
Mhm.
all your itemized deductions for what you have are less than 12,400, you're better off going on with the standard deduction. If you're
Right.
married, you're getting 24
Mhm.
to 24.4. So, if you combine your itemized deductions, expenses, tax deductions are less than that, of course, you want to go with the standard deduction. And for children, you get X amount of, children that you have. But normally you'd have, like example, if you've got, let's say you got $10,000 in deduction, whether it's for, for medical, those deductions have to be 10% more of 10% of your, 7% of your gross income, of your just
Mhm.
gross income. So if you're 40,000, anything over 7% of 40,000, which would be 2,800, would be a deduction. But those
Gotcha.
deductions per se, if you do have them over, let's say you have 30,000 deductions and you're married, you don't want to use the standard deduction. But it's a percentage. You don't get dollar for dollar. It's based on
Mhm.
what tax bracket you're in.
Gotcha.
Perfect example is, let's say if you have a small business or you're not reimbursed for mileage for going around for doing what you work, it's 57 cents a mile. So let's
Mhm.
say you did 1,000 miles, that's $5,700
Right.
uh, for mileage. Well, you're not going to get a $5,700 deduction. They're going to take that 5,700 and they're going to take a percentage. Let's say you're in a 30% tax bracket, and take 30% of that.
Gotcha.
Own a business, you're able to take the whole thing as a deduction. Like this year, between my 4 LLCs and a subchapter S corporation, I got 5 corporations because we do things in real estate, alternative investments for clients, and joint venture things like that. Between all 4 of them, I'll take about $29,000. 29,000 miles at 57 cents a mile comes out. So just say 30,000 comes out about 16.2. That will be my full deduction.
Right.
So like on 1,000, if you had 1,000 miles, it'd be 570 basically. That's the way it
Mhm.
works out.
Gotcha. And I think most people don't realize that, especially when you are in a home-based business, a business that's built around yourself. I teach that you take a gift, talent, or special ability that God gave you for free, or an experience. Thanks to my girl Lisa Santiago McNeil, sometimes you go through an experience that wasn't free, it caused you a lot of pain and turmoil, but you figured your way out of it. Now you can teach other people how to avoid that experience or how to get through it. That's enough for you to build a brand and a business around, which in most cases now your whole lifestyle becomes a tax write-off with a little planning and understanding of how you can maneuver in capitalism when you're on the right side of it. So you guys are listening to and learning from Bob Crane here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And we're going to get deeper into what to do with some of the money, especially some of you guys out here are crushing it in business and you got a lot of revenue coming in, but you need to know what to do with it. A, so you don't give too much to Uncle Sam, but B, you can do something smart with it and have it take care of your future at the same time. So, Bob, we do a segment called 1 Minute Motivation, right? And this is my ode to, the network marketing industry, where we're really big on personal growth and self-development. And I got into the books and the tape of the week when I was back with a company. I won't say any names, but it rhymes with Ramway, right? And I learned how to really start feeding my mind. So every morning that's part of my routine. So let's get into 1 Minute Motivation here on the Cortez Hustle Show. You guys know to comment one takeaway. Bob will give a takeaway, and then I will give my takeaway from this particular clip. It is super dope. So let's get into it right now.
I think that the people that are discovering how to unleash their greatness are people who have the mental resiliency and the courage to face failure, that you will fail your way to greatness, that most people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. When you're willing to fail again and again and again, when you make up your mind to become unstoppable, when you make up your mind to become a no matter what person, then that will then give birth to a part of yourself that you don't know right now.
Do you have the courage to act outwardly on what you see inwardly? Or will you die a dreamer? Will you die on the verge and on the edge and in the land of coulda, woulda, and shoulda? I'm going to drop something on you. It takes courage to be successful. It is far easier not to be successful. Misery will always have company. Success breeds contempt. If you don't want to make waves, be mediocre, be normal, and fit in. And if you're more concerned about people than you are God, then neutralize everything He put in you. Just fit in with everybody else. Dress like them, walk like them, act like them, eat like them, go where they go, think like they think, do what they do. And once you've neutralized your uniqueness, you don't need courage. It takes courage to be different.
Woo-wee. Ladies and gentlemen, do you now see why that's part of my morning routine? I get up and I listen to something that's going to fire me up so I can slay my day. Bob, 1 or 2 quick takeaways. What did you get?
It's true. I mean, I thought my father taught me, and I taught my children, failure is a learning experience. You got to get back up and go at it again. I've always been one of those that I do not take no for an answer. I'm going to find, I can remember battling in high school with the principals and of course in college with the administration. We're going to find a way to get things done. Because a lot of times when you go to a teacher or an administrator or even your boss, the easy answer is no. A lot of times they'll say no because they don't know what you're talking about and they don't want to take the time to know what you're talking about. So no, we're not interested. To me, a no in a selling situation is an opportunity to dig deeper. I mean, I'll give you an example. My daughter, Sarah, both my kids went to University of Georgia on the Hope Scholarship. And Sarah couldn't get into medical schools in the States. So she went to a foreign medical school in the Caribbean. She found a way. Now, unfortunately, Bank of Bob had to pay for that. But I was not going to deny her dream. And fought hard to get back in to get the rent straight. She kept getting no's and no's, but she's like me. She gets back up and keeps going. Even when you think it's hopeless, and I've been there. I know what it's like in 2008 to see, 8 years of working as a stockbroker for a major firm, and in about 4 months, my life's work gone. And see a six-figure salary go to a low mid 50s and having to start over and having to regroup, live on savings for a couple of years and rebuild. So I've been there. I know what it's like. I mean, it's not fun.
Gotcha. Love it, love it, love it. I think you said it takes mental resiliency and courage to face failure. I think a lot of people are running from those failures. No, you actually have to seek out failure. And the quicker you fail, extract that lesson and try again, the closer you'll get to your goal that much faster. Make up your mind to be unstoppable. That right there is something that I do every day. I wake up and I decide that today I'm going to slay. I'm going to be unstoppable. He said, failure will also help you give birth to the part of yourself that you don't know right now. See, it's already in us, but because we've been running from failure, that part of us has not awoken to actually get us to the next level. And of course, it takes courage to be different. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And 1 Minute Motivation is brought to you by MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com, the premier digital marketing mastermind. Listen, if you are struggling in your attempt to get your business online, you don't know anything about sales funnels and capture pages and building brands, but you want to, you need to, then you need to check out the Digital Marketing Mastermind over at MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com. We train once a month. You get a course of the month, and you also get a free one-on-one consultation every single month with one of our digital marketing experts. So MonetizeMyLifeAcademy.com. Now, Bob, we were talking about why we need to be on the right side of capitalism. Now let's talk a little bit about those who have made the leap, right? I'm on the right side of capitalism. I understand that I get over 450 tax write-offs, and I'm starting to understand how to move throughout my life and make sure that every decision that I make to spend $1, I'm checking to see, hey, is this a business expense or is this personal expense? And now let's just say I'm starting to get a little success. I don't have a lot of success, but based on me paying all my bills every month, I have a couple $100 in a disposable income, and I want to know what I could do with that. So let's talk about some very basic options that can help someone sock away some money and start preparing for retirement.
Okay, that's a good place to start, Cortez. If you're an entrepreneur, you've had your business, and in the early parts, you're taking the expenses, because as you start a business, people go, well, I don't know if I want that business. You want to find something that you can use your gifts. Some people, it's drawing. Some people it's numbers. Some people it's decorating. Some is singing. You never know. Mm-hmm. Let's say if you're starting to make it and you've been able to pay all your expenses and everything, you got money left over. My first thing as a certified financial planner is I want you to build an emergency fund. You need to get at least 3 months put away, then 6 months away. Ideally, I like you to be able to have up to a year, 6 months to a year in emergency fund. You say, why? Like COVID. Before this happened, a lot of small entrepreneurs were doing well. Then all of a sudden this hit, and they've had tremendous downturn. Those that had a emergency fund, 6, 9, 12 months, are fighting through it. Those that did not, lost their businesses.
Yeah.
And we'll find a place, unfortunately there aren't a lot of good interest rates, but we'll find a good money market and short T-bills where treasury bills will keep you from having to pay federal tax on money, but you still have to pay state tax. Unless you're one of those great 7 states, Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada, Wyoming, Alaska, and there's one more I can't remember right now, where they don't have state income tax.
Right.
But okay, so let's say you've made it, you're doing well, and you've got $30,000 net after all your expenses and everything for your business. You're like, I'm gonna have to pay taxes on $30,000, or it might be $20,000. What do you do? Well, one thing about having a small business is that you're able to, obviously, there's a myriad of a lot of different types of retirement plans. And I specialize in one that's also rated the highest by all of them, rated by JP Morgan, things like that, is that that's what we call solo 401ks, where basically you are the owner of your plan, you are the administrator of your plan, and you're able to invest and a wide array of things that you will not find at the Charles Schwabs of the world or Fidelities or things like that, TD Ameritrade. Because when you put your retirement plans with those, you can only use what's on their platform.
Right.
But there's a way, let's say you're doing your business is a side hustle. Obviously, you may have a 401k at your job. I'd say max out on that. Let's say if you're under 50, you can max out 19.5. Well, guess what? If you max that out and you own a small business, you can max out another 19.5 in your own retirement plan for your company.
Wow.
So that's where you can put 20,000 right there away, and you're not paying any income taxes. But say you made 30,000. Okay, we put 19.5 there, so we still have 11.5. Well, you can set up these solo 401k plans to also have a profit sharing plan on top of it, where you can put up another 25,000. So you can shelter up to $55,000 in your own retirement plan and profit sharing plan. If you're over 50, you can do up to 61,000.
Right.
And you could put 19.5 with the man that you're working for and put another 55 in your own. Basically, you're sheltering just around $74,000.
And that's amazing. And solopreneurs need to know this. So as someone who is just now getting into the profit, it's like, okay, you should be taking that profit, most of it, and you should be building that emergency fund, because we don't know if another COVID is coming, right? So you got something to the side. And then now you're looking at somebody who is, okay, their business is doing a little bit better. So they're making maybe, like you said, that $1,000 a month, that $2,000 a month in net profit. So now you end at the end of the year, you got $30,000, $40,000. So you're saying that we could legally, ethically, and morally shift that money into situations where we don't pay taxes on that money, but at the same time, it's still our money. We don't lose it.
I mean, it's going to go tax deferred. Eventually, Uncle Sam going to get his coin when you
retire.
Okay. But another simpler way, if let's say you have a small business, I'll just make something up. Let's say, I don't know, your side hustles that you're making a barbecue for everyone. Now all of a sudden you got a good business on the weekends and you're starting to make some money. If you have a child at, 10, 12 years old or higher, under 17, you can hire your child. You don't have to pay FICA tax on them. You can hire them up to $12,000 if that's what you're making. Basically, you open a checking account, a minor's checking account where you're the guardian, and you can put the money in there. I've got a good friend of mine. 3 of his girls play travel ball for soccer. 2 of them have gotten Division I and II scholarships, and the younger one's even better. I mean, she's being looked at by major schools in the SEC. But, he during the year, they're on tournaments all over, mileage, hotels, food costs. He pays his children to help with his business that he's got. And when they need uniforms, equipment, they got to go out, he pulls it out of there to do it. So basically, he gets a tax deduction for taking care of his children. Or if you have that money, you can put an IRA for your child. Let's say you made $4,000 and you get taxed on it. Well, you can put $4,000 in that IRA for your child every year, and then when they graduate from high school, they can take that money out tax-free and go to use it for college. So actually, you can get a tax deduction from the federal government to fund your kids' college education.
Got it. I love it. Guys, if you have a question for Bob Crane, aka the Alphabet Man, drop those questions in the comments. So we had a few people who responded to the 1 minute motivation. Let's see. Beverly says, mental resilience to face fear. Make up your mind to become no matter what type of person. Yeah, man, I love it. Let's see. Tara Lee says, fear not. I love it. She tagged a bunch of people, so I appreciate that, Tara Lee, as well. We got Janelle Smith in the building from Integrity Wealth Solutions, free business shout out. Let's see, guys, comment the name of your business and or your brand for the free business shout out. You never know who might want to connect with you. Also, today's question of the day, to be entered into the drawing, make sure that you put QOTD and give your answer. The question of the day is, Do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Do you believe that everything happens for a reason? Put QOTD and give your answer, and we'll enter you into the drawing. And we do these drawings every single Wednesday at noon Central Time, so you can actually see the drawing live. And shout out to Cheryl Shiro, who won yesterday's drawing, and I think she picked to go to Daytona Beach out of about 12 different locations. Keep on pushing. Enterprise LLC is in the building as well. So, Bob, when it comes to knowing what and how to do these things with your money, I think one of the things that the financial institutions have been very, very successful at is scaring people into believing that this stuff is hard, right? And the only reason it could be challenging, Bob, is because what most people don't know is money has its own language, right? And when you learn the language of money, you get terminology and perspective. Then it's just like anything else, because everything has its own terminology. I'm a digital marketer. And when I start talking about sales funnels, capture pages, and all that kind of stuff, I see people's eyes glaze over because they don't know that terminology. But if they get to understand the language of money, then this stuff becomes like anything else, very simple, very easy to understand. Talk about the importance of the financial literacy aspect and some things that you would recommend someone do to just kind of start getting their mind to understand the language of money.
And there's a lot of resources out there that's free on the internet. Something you got to be careful. They may be sponsored by someone who just wants to get your information, try to sell you something. Mm-hmm. I like to plug my website because I have an incredible financial resource center on there, which I have normally it's password protected, but I have it open. But it's WBG, so Whiskey Bravo Golf -LLC.com. So WBG-LLC.com. If you go in there, you see my ugly picture, or it changes. But under my resource tab in there, I've got it's an A through Z. It could take you hours to go through everything you want to know about different financial terms. I've got short videos in there. I've got direct access to my tax library, everything you would need for checklists for a small business person, or currently one or going to be from the IRS. There is like 38 financial calculators, how to do return on investment, stuff like that. It's quite extensive. I had some people look at it in a financial education power company in Atlanta. They were just like, there's just too much information. I mean, I'm working on watering something down for them of more basic, but I give it to my clients and prospects. So, just take a look at it. I'm not asking for your email or phone number. It's just right there, things like that. But that's one way. Also, you need to be careful who you talk to about your money. If you go in there under my website, you'll see who our people are and my credentials. A life insurance agent is not a financial counselor, okay? And he sells life insurance. If he's going to be an expert at it, he should get the chartered life underwriter from the American College. A stockbroker is a stockbroker. And I've been a stockbroker. And the idea of having the hot stock of the week for the company, let me tell you how it works for you, ladies and gentlemen. Every morning, in every stock brokerage house in the country, whether it's Wells Fargo Advisors, Merrill Lynch, A.G. Edwards, you name it, who have Prudential, Bank of America Prudential, is that they'll have the squawk box time. It usually happens about an hour before the markets open. And the brokerage houses hold positions in a lot of different stocks. And they'll say, well, we need to move this. We think this is a good deal. And I can remember as a young stockbroker looking what they were wanting me to hawk. And I'm like, I wouldn't buy this. Sell it to somebody else. I'm sorry, I'm like that. I don't give my clients investment advice on things I would not invest in or I am in. And now I got in trouble. So, well, you need to move this. So, no, look at the numbers. This is not a good deal. This is better what I looked up. Some senior stockbrokers looked at it and they're like, this is better. And I recommend that to a lot of new prospects. Well, 90 days later, they got bought out and the stock went up triple. So stockbrokers are not the real good place. And a lot of them might have a couple certifications, but the big four that you need to look at, ladies and gentlemen, I think the best one is Certified Financial Planner. That's from the American Board of Certified Financial Planning. It is 6 national exams done closed book at a testing site. It's probably the broadest thing. The next one would be Chartered Financial Consultant from the American College, which is similar to the CFP but not as broad. And then the Chartered Life Underwriter for life insurance. Those are pretty much your big 3. And of course, an enrolled agent, which I am, that's testing and training that you do. You know, we're talking several hundreds of hours. You got to take 3 major exams from the IRS. And it allows you to represent people in front of the IRS and in tax court. And of course, a CPA. But a certified public accountant is somebody who's got an accounting degree. They had to do at least 1,000 hours of mentorship under another CPA. And then they take a state test. And a certified public accountant means they can audit books and certify they're correct, and it's admissible in court. You don't necessarily have to have a CPA to do your work. I have a gentleman who's a bookkeeper. He could pass the CPA if he wanted to with his eyes closed. Got a master's in accounting. He was a senior in college when I was a freshman, and with my 5 corporations and everything, he still does mine. Now, it takes us several hours, and we definitely put limits to the software sometimes. But I mean, a bookkeeper who does good small business planning is what you want to look at. So you want to find someone with good credentials. Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's always people calling you on the phone. I get them. We have a 2-well oil deal in West Texas. Get in on the ground floor for $10,000. The first thing I ask them is, I'm sorry, are you registered with the SEC to sell limited partnerships? Are you a Series 26 or 22? Click.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, if it sounds too good to be true, trust me, it is.
Gotcha.
Okay, if it was that good, you'll see in Facebook, they're trying to sell partnerships and hotel deals in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh or Detroit with incredible returns. Ladies and gentlemen, if these deals were that good, institutional investors and high credit investors already would have bought it all up.
Yeah, it would already be off the market. I love that. So there are some groupings that these certifications will probably have your best interest at heart before the company they work for best interest at heart, or the investment that they're selling. I love that. Let's talk real quick without getting too deep into the weeds on this. There's 2 things I want to understand. Number one, President Trump's tax bill created a $20,000 pass-through or something. I'm not sure if I'm saying the right term there, but I know that created another window that small business owners can take advantage of. Can you break that down real quick?
Right. The idea was that after you're all done with paying your expenses, your net profits, if you were below the threshold, you could get another 20% tax deduction off what your earnings were. So let's say if you had 10,000 left over, you could take 20% of 10,000 is 2,000. You could take another tax deduction. Sadly, that's going to be eliminated by the new administration.
Gotcha.
A lot of things that were put in by the Trump administration were very pro-business to grow jobs, to grow the economy. And we saw in that 4-year period the largest growth ever for consecutive quarters. We saw the jobless rate go to the lowest ever for women, African Americans, Hispanics, and things of that nature. And what it did, it had a boom, not really for big business. Big business could take advantage of some of it, but your smaller to medium business, a lot of your mom and pop, first, second generation, was able to do that and hire and expand. Sadly, a lot of that is about to go away, and people are going to feel the pain from that.
Yeah, and I think even when it took place, I still don't think, while there was a boom, I don't think enough people understood it to take advantage of it. And you talked about those 6 areas of credentials that you should be hiring. Man, I don't think enough of us really, you know, even as small business owners, solopreneurs, I think we're still, you know, want to go the cheap way out. Hey, man, I got a sister's cousin, brother whose boyfriend does taxes. Then I'm going to let them do my taxes, right? And because of that kind of stuff, you're not with an enrolled agent like you know, shout out to Yvette D. Best, the Best Services LLC. She is a newly certified enrolled agent, and that's who I've been rocking with for the last 5 years or so. But I think a lot of people missed out because they don't have the right people. And talk about the continuous education that these certifications mandate, so that you know you're dealing with somebody who is not just qualified and certified and they took a test one time. No, they've got to be retested and
doing those right now.
It changes all the time, right?
Right. And one thing I want to ask, listen, if you're just starting out, the level of skill you need to do your taxes is based on the complexity of your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing just a simple 1040 form, a 1040 EZ, you don't need to spend extra money to go with higher up. That's pretty much simple. You can probably do those on TurboTax. You know, even if you have a small business and it's under, you know, X amount of dollars, you maybe you'll do that yourself. But as you grow and things get more complex, then you need to find the people more qualified. Again, it's about having someone who specializes in small business. It could be just a regular bookkeeper who's been doing it for 20 years. You asked about, excuse me.
Got you. So the second thing I wanted to touch base on is you kind of alluded to a little bit that the new administration is coming into the White House, well, is in the White House now, and talk about some of the things that we can expect. We know that taxes are going up, right? And based on the limited amount of time we have to study what's proposed, have you already identified some ways that I know we identified some ways that we're going to be affected, but have you already started to identify some maneuvers that the average person can make to mitigate some of that?
Because with Democrats control the House, Senate, and now the presidency, they have a clear hand to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, you know, higher taxes. Example, the capital gains tax. If you own an investment 1 year and a day, it's taxed differently than if you own it 1 year. If you own it just under a year or 1 year, it's taxed at your normal tax rates. If you have it 1 year and a day, it's considered long-term taxable gain, where depending what your tax bracket is, you'll pay between 10 and 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two things being floated by people in the House from Speaker Pelosi is one, to raise the capital. Their first thing is to do away with long-term capital gains advantages, and any gain you have, whether you hold it 6 months or 10 years, will be taxed at your highest marginal tax rate.
Mm-hmm.
They do that, we're going to lose over a couple million jobs in this country. There'll be no investment in the United States, and everything will move overseas again. The other one is to move short-term capital gains from 20 up to 28 to 30%. And that will have a similar effect, but not as much. Another one is when the Trump tax plan came out and gave $12,400 for a single as a standard deduction, and $24,800 for married couples, they're looking to cut that back to possibly half, which would be devastating.
Wow.
So that we're only going to raise taxes on people who make $400,000 or more is not true. And you know, they think someone who makes $400,000 is rich. If you're making $50,000 a year, you might think that's rich. But small businesses or family businesses make that $300,000 to $400,000, and but the reinvestment they have to keep putting into the businesses,
right?
Additional 20%. You know, everyone goes, oh, minimum wage 15%, about $15 an hour. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is look at Oregon, California, and Washington. What $15 an hour has done is pretty much closed almost 30% of all the family businesses. Fast food places, bigger ones, are not hiring. They're laying people off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just maximizing what they've got. And their unemployment rate is a third to 50% higher than the rest of the country.
Wow.
And then what's the bad side? Let's say a lot of, and it's sad, you say Walmart doesn't pay much, and I agree, they could pay more, but about 38% of everyone who works for Walmart is receiving also some type of government subsidy, whether it's Section 8, welfare, or food stamps. Well, when they put $15 an hour, guess what it does? It makes them, they made more, and they lose those benefits. So actually, they're going to be worse off than they were before. Because if they raise $15 an hour, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think is going to pay for that? The consumer, you and I. Those working prices are going up. Those services done by your plumber and electrician are going up. It's going to be passed down to the consumer. Yeah. So when it's all said and done, it's going to be the same. You're going to be paying more. You might be making more, but you're going to be paying more. It washes.
Yeah. That's capitalism in America, ladies and gentlemen. And I think one of the things that we have to have you back on the show and really break down this home-based business deal, because a lot of times people who are in those situations, those lower paying jobs, the $8 or $9 or $10 an hour jobs, they are still getting hit with income tax. And most of these people do have side hustles, but because they listen to bad information, they never legitimize those side hustles, right? We tend to think, Bob, in a lot of cases, especially in the Black community, that if I am making an extra $2,500 a year, whether I do nails, whether I cut grass in the summer, we think, well, that's extra money that is under the table. I'm not paying taxes on that money. But if you legitimize that business, and tell me if I'm wrong, if you legitimize that business, you would report the $2,500, but you might have had $20,000 in tax deductions pursuing that $2,500 that could have lowered your overall taxable income. Is that right? Am I on the right path?
One thing I want to say, there's nothing wrong with a job. I had one for 26 years. In fact, my financial planning business, tax business, I built part-time while I worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 18 years.
Gotcha.
The pharmaceutical was good health benefits, a steady paycheck that took care of my kids, and I slowly grew my base to a point where I could go away. Think of your job as your bank to help develop and expand your side hustle, your small business. Don't leave your job. Keep doing it as long as you can. But when you get to the point with your small business that you're making about 50% more than what you were doing before, and if you can, that's when you start looking at possibly leaving. Some people can. I know a self-made millionaire with a financial education empowerment company. He could have left his company years ago. But he has a child that has incredible health problems, and she just got out of the hospital after 38 days. Yeah. And he could not get affordable health insurance because of her. So he stays at his job, and he's making 4 times more, 3 times more outside. And he's told me it's very easy to go to work Monday morning. I can smile all day. I deal with the pressure because I know I'm making my coin someplace else.
Gotcha.
So it's a give and take.
Love it, love it, love it. So we are coming up on the top of the hour. So that means I have to give my response to the question of the day, Bob. And if you have not answered the question of the day, it is this. Do you believe that everything happens for a reason? So if you want to be entered into a drawing to win a free vacation, then make sure you use QOTD. So I know you're responding to the question of the day. And then my team pulls your name and we put you in a drawing. And every Wednesday at noon Central, we draw for a free vacation. And my girl, Cheryl Shiro, won yesterday's free vacation and she chose to go to Daytona Beach. So right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, we do the question of the day and we read a couple of takeaways from the audience. So let's see. Quanda says, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. And that's by Audrey Hepburn. I love that. I love that quote. Let's see who else answered the question of the day. I saw a few more QOTDs. Let's see. I thought I saw somebody said absolutely. Says God doesn't make mistakes, says Tara Lee. And so my response to today's question of the day is I do believe that everything happens for a reason, but you don't get to connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards and see why those things happened in your life. So the book I read, Bob, tells me to count it all joy. So, because I know that all things are working together for the good. So even though it may be painful to endure at the moment, even though I may not understand what's going on, I know that if I can weather the storm, I'm going to be able to look back and see exactly why that happened and what I became as a result of that and how it helped to propel me forward. Levando Pulley, what's going on, my brother? He said, everything happens for a reason. The main focus is to learn along the way while they are happening. So that is the question of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. So Bob, make sure we let everybody know, how can they get a free consultation with you if you're a small business owner, if you're a solopreneur and you're trying to figure this whole thing out with moving your money, lowering your taxes, preparing for retirement as a solopreneur? How can they connect with you and set up a free consultation?
Probably the best way would be to do it through my WBG website, or just put Bob Crane, BOBCRANE, at WBG-LLC.com.
Yeah.
Email that will get.
Say it one more time. I want to put it in the comments. Your email address?
Bob Crane at WBG-LLC.com. And WBG stands for Wealth Builders Group.
All right. Cool. And make sure, I tell Mr. Bob, you heard him on the Cortez Hustle Show. So as we wind down, Bob, because we got a hard cutoff because of my syndication deal that I now have with the Empowerment Network. So I can no longer run over the show because it's not just me anymore. So shout out to Lisa Santiago McNeil and Brian Keith McNeil over at the Empowerment Network for syndicating the show over there as well. But last thoughts real quick before we go.
I would say one thing, fear is the mind killer. And quote from Albert Einstein, he once said, God does not play with dice. Things happen for a reason. At the time, in my life, I could not understand why. But looking back 3 or 4 years later, I smile and go, yeah, it was a high.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to and learning from Mr. Bob Crane, Certified Financial Planner. WBG-LLC.com is his website. Go check out his resource center. Start getting your literacy up as it relates to money. Money has its own language. And when you learn the language, then you can start entering the conversation and actually understand what's being said. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Until I talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.